who do that are not necessarily.
Yeah, yeah, I'm breaking.
What's up? What country you in? Where?
I'm in North Carolina.
Okay, where are you from?
I'm in North Carolina.
No,
Raleigh,
brother.
North Carolina.
Where are you from?
I'm from here. I was born in this country.
No. I see your hairline. You're not a foundational Black American with that hairline, nigga. Where in the fuck is your family from?
New York. I was born in New York.
No, nigga. Where is your family from? I see that hairline. What part of Ghana is your fucking family from, nigga?
What part
of Uganda? No, nigga. What part of Uganda are you from, nigga? Stop playing. Where are you from?
I'm from America. I was born in this country.
No, you're not. Not where you were born, nigga. You're an anchor baby. What part of the Congo did your family come from, nigga?
I don't know.
Okay, no, let's play a game. Your family, your mom and dad or your granddad are immigrants. I see that hairline, nigga. I see them ashy fucking knuckles. You are not no foundational Black American. I know my people, nigga. I see that disco ass.
You're racist
in the back, nigga.
You are racist.
I'm not racist, nigga, but don't act like you a foundational Black American. Let's stop it. I know my folks. I see that head. Ain't nothing foundational Black American about that hairline, nigga. We wouldn't let you go out the house like that. Stand up for where you from. Where you from, my nigga? Just be real. Where's your family from?
Let's keep it up. My parents are not immigrants. My nana was born during World War II.
Nigga, where is your people from? Let's stop it. Where's your people from?
I think Congo.
Nigga, that room looks like it smells like Jollof. Where in the fuck is your family from, brother?
I swear you're ignorant as hell.
Come keep it a buck. If you ain't gonna keep it a buck, we'll get your ass out of here. Where your family from, nigga?
I think they were slaves from Congo. I think.
No. I don't even think they were slaves. I don't even think that. No, they were immigrants. They weren't slaves. No, nigga, they were immigrants. Your family immigrated over here, dude, and you know it. Look at the side of that head, nigga. You don't even have that shit faded or tapered. You ain't from here. In the room all day, so let's get you on here. What's up, Virgil?
Yo.
So they said you've been trolling in the room. I haven't seen.
I'm not trolling. I'm trying to talk to you. So I feel like that y'all are hate. What?
Calm down, nigga.
I feel like you hating, bro.
Nigga, calm the fuck down, bro. Your energy real funny style. Calm down.
No. I feel like you hating.
All right, but first calm the
fuck. I'm calm, bro. I'm saying I feel like all the FBA stuff is like hating. Like, why are you even saying that stuff? Like, why would you put on Instagram?
Where are you from?
Where am I from? I'm from New York. Why would y'all like?
Where is your family from?
From Jamaica.
Okay, shut the fuck up and respect foundational Black Americans.
I'm not respecting none of that coon shit. What are you talking about?
Nigga, the coon is you and your coward fucking family that had to bounce because you failed in Jamaica, nigga.
That's because we failed in Jamaica?
You failed in fucking Jamaica.
And then what happened to everybody that's in America?
Nigga, we still here fighting. That's what we doing. We didn't run like bitches.
So you
ran like a bitch.
So FBA.
I'm saying you.
Wait, no. I'm gonna ask you. Let me ask you.
You ran like a bitch.
Let me ask you something. FBA,
I'm telling you. No, don't ask me nothing.
No. Because I'm asking you what you talking about.
FBA
support Malcolm X.
Nigga, your family ran like bitches.
Does FBA support Malcolm X?
You ain't at liberty to say nothing about a foundational Black American. Nigga, Malcolm X ain't got nothing to Malcolm X was half foundational Black American. You ain't got nothing to do with Malcolm X.
You say he was half?
Yes, he was.
But
his dad was a foundational Black American.
The whole thing that he was talking about came from a Jamaican nigga. What are you talking about?
Nigga, first of all, Marcus Garvey was a Jamaican. He said y'all weren't shit. Marcus Garvey didn't get shit popping in Jamaica. He got it popping here. Y'all try to tell the Marcus Garvey lie. Marcus Garvey left Jamaica in disgust because of coons like your bitch ass. Nigga, don't come over here running your fucking mouth.
Everywhere, bro. There's coons everywhere.
And at least we got coons that stay here. We don't flee. You're not at liberty to say nothing about a foundational Black American.
Flee where?
fled.
Where?
You fled your homeland.
Jamaica.
You fled your homeland.
Yo, you know what?
You right there to fight.
Yo, hold on. You
didn't stay there to fight and make it better.
All right, let me calm down.
You didn't stay there and fight to make your country better, my nigga. You can't do nothing to us. We stay here and make our shit better. We go through the hardships and we stay to make it better, my nigga.
Let me calm down.
You ain't in Jamaica. You are right. How come you ain't in Jamaica fighting for your family and your lineage, my nigga? How come you ain't in Jamaica talking that gully shit you talking? You ain't in Jamaica. How come you ain't there fighting, nigga? You got all that mouth here. You ain't over there getting the Asians and the Indians off their ass in Jamaica. I go to Jamaica all the time, nigga. So don't have all that smoke for us and you ain't got it for them. Thank you. Have a good night. Nigga, fuck off my phone, nigga. That's how you handle that. You don't call up talking nothing to a foundational Black American and you done fled, nigga. The fuck, don't come gully for us. And the Asian nigga, I go to Jamaica all the time. I'm in Jamaica all the fucking time, dude. I love Jamaica. I got a lot of respect in Jamaica, but there's a coon class in Jamaica.
LASIK.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on? I'm DJ Benz. This is in the house. And then we got Nels on the Zoom.
Nels on the Zoom.
I told you. NBC Network. This is the real NBC Network. We go live up in here. You said something about NBC earlier. I was like, hey, wait, NBC doing something with it? And I was like, oh, wait. Yeah, because we are NBC. This is the real NBC. Fuck is you talking about? This is the real shit right here. The melatonin.
Nels, Benz, and Cheese.
Nels, Benz, and Cheese, B. It's popping. Shoot.
We need a song. Nels, Benz, and Cheese.
Nels,
Benz, and Cheese.
Hey. You know what I mean? So, we going right to it, man. I mean, yeah. Curry or fried? What chicken you like? Either way, it's the same thing. That's the motto. That's the punchline, okay? We just did it right off the back. Curry or fried? Curry or fried? I personally like curry, but I don't mind fried. You know why? Because I like to pour my sauce on the fried. You feel me? I got styles, B. All right. I'm just trying to keep up. It's your world. I only live in it. Bro, it's our world, bro. I love your mask. I thought I was waiting to notice it. I love your mask. Yo, he's wearing a Haitian flag mask, bro.
Yeah. Okay.
Yo.
That's what's up.
Mom just kept this for me for my birthday. Man, I'm out to move.
Shout out to moms for the birthday gift.
Move the camera. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. She sent me that and like some other stuff. So. For sure. Anyway, yeah, we really gonna get into it, you know what I'm saying? The disconnect between African Americans and Caribbeans, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think every one of us went through situations where we hate on each other. I say we hate on each other because at the end of the day, we know the answer to this question. What is the difference between an African American, a Dominican, a Haitian, a Jamaican, and a Trinidadian? The way we cook plantain.
The way we make rice and beans. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know. I mean, do I want Mexican rice or Puerto Rican rice? I'm trying to figure that out. But the answer is a boat stop. It's a boat stop. You know what I mean? That's the answer, guys. You guys are. It's a boat stop. No, you're right. It's a boat stop. We just giving you a hard time.
Yeah, no. Hey, you're funny. We like that. But yeah, that's just basically what it is, though, because it's a lot of I don't know, hatred or a lot of jokes is going on between each other, and that's something that we need to stop. We just gotta nip in the butt. I just want to go at it right now, man. Bring it up about that Tariq Nasheed character, because this guy is an a-hole, and yeah, we about to correct you. Yo, so Tariq Nasheed, for those who are familiar with him, he's a brother that creates the Hidden Colors series, right? It's a series of documentaries that are based around the secret histories and cultures of Africans, African Americans, Blackness throughout the world. Long story short, I was on his IG page, and he did a number of Instagram live videos that he also saved on his profile, where the first one was essentially a kid who may have not been Black American here in the States. He could have been African, basically just played, like, just disrespected him.
clowning him, roasting him, saying that, hey, there's no way you could be a foundational Black American with that type of hairline, and your family probably born in the bushes or something like that.
Wow.
So after that video happened, other first and second generation African Americans, Africans who are parents from Africa or Caribbean Americans, called in talking about, bro, what's with this divisive type of talk you got going on right now? Second person spoke, this Jamaican dude, and then Tariq went to go on to refer to the Jamaican dude and his family as cowards, saying that you need to show some respect to foundational Black Americans because y'all parents and family was too cowardice to stay in Jamaica and make it happen there. So y'all decided to come to America and try to eat off our plate from all the things that we put together.
Oh my God.
It goes, and then I'm gonna say one more video. Another brother called. His family's from Cameroon, and he himself grew up here in the States, but his parents from Cameroon. He called into the show, said, "Yo, what's up with this rhetoric that I'm hearing that's divisive, and I'm just trying to get more clarity about the matter." Tariq then went on to expand on his point about foundational Black Americans who, anytime they reach out to African countries or the Caribbean countries, they don't accept Black Americans. And because of that, he's like, but y'all want to come here, eat off our plate, and not show no respect to the fight and the struggles that we go through every day. I bring it up because it's crazy to see someone like Tariq Nasheed, who puts together this type of content, but is so toxic in his relationships when it comes to just Black people around the world. So I know Ben just charged up. I'm gonna say this.
You goddamn right, I'm goddamn charged up, man.
Like, last point and just say that this is what I think happened. If you haven't seen the video, we'll post it for you guys in a little bit. What I think happened is Tariq Nasheed, being the filmmaker he is, traveled all over the world to some of the most Blackest places in the world, whether it's somewhere in Africa or even to the Caribbean. He spoke to some of the most brightest minds when it comes to Black culture and Black history, because that's what his whole series is about. And I think what he found is maybe he wasn't as well received or supported.
Well, yeah, not with that mindset, but go ahead.
But I'm even talking about before. I'm saying this is someone who's, he probably, like I said, went to these places and was expecting to get welcome or invited by other Black folk from around the world for doing the work that he's doing, which is putting together a documentary series about Black history and Black culture. And what I think happened is, they said, okay, maybe they don't accept him or as one of us, or what the case may be.
Or maybe they actually they dissect the real. Like they're questioning, why are you doing this documentary? Are you doing this documentary really to bring people together and bring awareness? Or are you doing this solely for your own gain? And I guess a lot of people had the energy that he's doing it solely for his own gain. So they basically just didn't fuck with it. So that might be the reason why.
So, and I say that because being Haitian American myself, I've definitely, as a kid, had Black American kids make fun of me and say, oh, Haitian need cats and African booty scratching.
Yeah, listen, first of all, like, you're from Long Island.
Yeah.
Like, you're just a couple of Long Island Railroad train stops away from me. I'm from Flatbush, Brooklyn. I went to PS 217, and I went to Ditmas in Montauk, and then I went to Lafayette High School. And man, like the African booty scratcher jokes, Haitian eats cats. Oh, girl, don't talk to him, man. He does voodoo, man. He got a doll on him. He'll probably cut your head off. Like all that shit. We went through all that shit, all right? And yeah, it's crazy. At one point, there were a couple of times in my life, I had more hatred towards. I had more hatred. My bad. Let me rephrase that. I had more like racism from Black Americans than white people. At times in my life, that happened. I mean,
right. And it's not to say that like we feel any kind of way about it. It's an experience that happens.
It's just fact. It's just experience that happens.
Transparent. So I say that because that's an experience that's happened to where, but it didn't really shape my worldview to think like less of Black Americans or less of Black folk who aren't from my culture. It just was a point to, it comes with both sides. You get the left, you get the right. So my whole thing with that is, once again, he's somebody who must have been hurt, who probably wasn't as well received or liked while he was doing his work. And that probably bothered him. Probably sat, cut deep. Because think about it. You're going to South Africa and you're putting history together that shows that we're very much related to each other. And maybe they're not as welcoming as you would like them to be. So now you internalize that pain and then use that to justify your coined term of now foundational Black Americans as a term for superiority, that anyone who is Black American has pretty much a little bit more or is more well-to-do than a Black person who is not from America.
I also want to add into that too. Shout out to Anita from Colorado. You know what I mean? Well, she's Puerto Rican from New York, but she lives in Colorado. So shout out to the home. Boricua's in there. See what I'm saying? But honestly, I think a number of African Americans internalize this type of pain. I think they have this type of pain that people like Nels, Cheeseburger, and myself don't have, and that is at least we have some type of homeland to connect with and culture to connect with.
Right. And absolutely. I hear that all the time. So for me, like with my experience, I grew up, born and raised in the Bronx, elementary school, junior high school. I left New York after I graduated high school. And at least for me, in my experience, I didn't know anybody that was African American, right? Everybody I knew was some type of Caribbean, whether they were from Jamaica, from Barbados, from the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rican, whether they were Haitian, Belizean, whatever, Guyanese, they were something from the West Indies, right? And so when I did first, I guess, meet somebody that was, well, I'll take that back. I was raised by a Black man, right? My godfather, who I consider my father. And that was the only African American person that I knew, right? His family comes from South Carolina. But aside from him, I had never met anybody. And we're talking about a Black man that spoke Spanish, but he spoke Spanish because he grew up in the Bronx and was raised around Puerto Ricans, right? So that's neither here nor there. But I remember the first time I met somebody that was African American, aside from my dad, and I couldn't like process it. I had trouble processing that because I'm like, okay, well, what kind of Black are you? And he's like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, are you Jamaican? Are you this? Are you that? And he was like, nah, I'm just Black, like regular Black. And I was 18 years old. I was working at a restaurant. I was a server at Red Lobster in Co-op City. And for the life of me, like, I really couldn't process it. And he was just like, no, I'm just American. Like, that's it, nothing else. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, I don't think I've come across anyone, at least that's openly or said that they were American. So that was kind of like my first experience of like, okay. Then when I went to college, and meeting like Southern Black folks, right? That was when I started to be able to learn the cultural differences between what I grew up with and what I was accustomed to in New York City versus what goes on in the South, And I think that's when I started to kind of realize, well, in high school more so is when I started to realize that there were these differences because I wasn't quote unquote Black enough for the Black people, and then I wasn't like Spanish enough for the Spanish people. And when I say Spanish enough for the Spanish people, I'm talking about like the fair skin, straight hair, Hispanics up in New York, which is strange because in junior high school, my whole crew was Hispanic. We were all Dominicans and Puerto Ricans kicking it. So when I went to high school and I started to have this struggle, it was kind of odd. And then in college, that's part of the reason why I went to a historically Black college and university, because I was more accepted within the Black community. But that was the Black New York community. And I didn't really know nothing about what it meant to be a Black Southern person, right? And I learned that being out there. But it's just crazy to me that there's all these layers of Blackness, and right? Like so there are people that will look at me and be like, no, you're not Black, you're Hispanic, or you're Puerto Rican, or whatever it is. And then like my best friend says, she's like, you've always been Black to me, just of a different culture. You speak a different language, you have a different culture, and that's it. So to some people, how you are perceived by the human eye is what you are, and then you have other people that they add all these layers in to whether you are black enough or not. Or now we're even having a conversation of being American enough. It sounds like to me, which is absurd.
Here's my thing too, is that I will say this, and this is pretty much, I think, a consensus that all black folk can come to. So the term foundational black American, right? I mean, I think right now a lot of black folk are questioning what it means to be American. Because if we were to just take a look at American culture, you know, it really hasn't ever really benefited black folk in any way, shape, or form. So much so, a lot of black folk are, you know, going through my23.com and trying to find out their lineage or their roots, because what they're finding is that their value system, okay, well, I'm American, and I don't say this to make anyone who, because I'm Haitian American. I'm not trying to challenge identity. What I'm trying to say is bring awareness as to black folk in particular have now challenged what the identity of being American is. That's why they're finding out that they're Nigerian and X, Nigerian and, or Ghanaian and Z, because Sarah because they're finding that, yo, like, there's so much more to who we are that stopped at a certain point, and now people are wanting to go back for that. But with that being said, is to even come up with this whole thing about being prideful about being American. You know what's funny? If you're black right now and you seem like you're cool with being American, it's kind of a tricky look, because right now being proud of being American almost gets co-signed with being proud of being a patriot. And as we all know, patriot is a whole different type of a world that a lot of people don't really want to associate with. So I say that to say, culture can overlap, okay?
Absolutely, but because you can't do that either, because how many Black Americans and Caribbean Americans and all of that and Hispanic people serve in our armed forces, you know, and they're military people, myself included, consider themselves to be very patriotic. I mean, me personally, I don't know, but you know, at least I have respect for the country, you know, but there are certain things that I draw a line on and that I won't tolerate, you know.
Right,
and that's just out of respect for my brothers and sisters that have served.
Right, because the whole thing about what a lot of black people come to understand is what it means to be American is that to be black and American means to be persecuted.
Because, and that's something we're not going to allow anymore.
Because of being aware of that now we have this, you know, rebellious nature of, okay, rejecting that form of persecution. But in doing so, we learn to become more informed about who we are. We learn more about who our roots and who our culture is. But the disconnect, though, I want to go back to is one of those things where black people, we have too much in front of us right now about what makes us different, about who's more light-skinned versus dark-skinned, who got money, who don't got money, people from the north, people from down south.
I do want to chime in on that, too. It's like a lot of people struggle to, you know, connect with more than one, you know, scene. Like, okay, I'm light skinned, so I'm not dark skinned, or I'm Black American, I'm not African or Caribbean or anything. There's so many layers of blackness. You could be like 5, 6 of them at the same time, and that's perfectly fine. Like, you could be black and love America because you were in the armed forces, but a lot of people don't connect with that at all. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the struggle comes.
Because to connect with that also means that you co-sign all the stuff that came with it. Because that's really what it is.
That's fine. A lot of people don't think that's fine.
To be a patriot nowadays is one of those things where they say, yeah, you're proud of your of the country and all its mistakes.
But that's what history is about.
In Germany right now, for people,
like, own your mistakes, own it up.
Well, this is what I'm going to get to.
Germany, I'm not proud of the country and our mistakes, but at the same time, I'm not willing to trade in this citizenship for somebody else's citizenship. I'll tell you that much.
Here's what it is. In Germany, they openly disavow and disacknowledge Nazis. Like, in Germany, if you have a Nazi flag, that shit is considered a hate crime, and that shit is serious. They nip that shit quick.
Time out.
Right?
Time out. You mean to tell me the country that founded Nazis, you know, it's more viewed as a hate crime than right here in America?
Yeah. And so
ain't that some shit?
In Germany, they don't tolerate that shit because they acknowledge the mistake of what they did to Jewish folk and other people who were affected by the Holocaust was a horrendous thing. Yeah. In order to, show that, okay, well, we fucked up, we're not going to allow that thought process to persist in our country, right? Yeah. But whatever you want to say about it is that they can accept they fucked up, but they're also taking active measures to correct it. Whereas here in the States, it's like, if you say you're proud to be American, it's almost like saying, well, also this country did hang black folk in public. So that means, are you cool with that? Do you co-sign that? Or, I'm proud to be American. Okay, so, they took black families, ripped them apart, and, you know what I'm saying? Like, you cool with that? The list goes on. So that's why now people
but I think more... Yeah, but I think more so people associate America with being the land of the free and country of opportunity, which, again, for Black people, Black Americans, it wasn't always the land of the free, right? We all know this. And what's crazy to me is that, like, I know you kind of use Germany as an example, but here in America, like, you don't see white Americans doing that, right? Saying, oh, well, you're Irish or you're this or you're that. Now the white group, the group of Americans or white people that I will say is kind of outcasted are Jews, and there's a lot of history behind that too. And as I stated in the last
there's a lot
show,
of segregation and disconnect in this country. It's like
there is, but a lot of it is ignorance too, and the fact that people don't want to learn and do their history.
Yeah.
So,
but then that's why I go back to the whole point about. That's why now people are challenging that. But to go back to Tariq Nasheed and this whole foundational Black American thing,
we don't need that.
His whole thing was this: because a lot of Black Americans try to reach out to reconnect with, like, the continent of Africa or reconnect with roots in the Caribbean, they're usually met, with like indifference, where it's not like you're not one of us, so on, so forth, right? That is a real rhetoric. However, on the other side, plenty of Caribbeans as well as African Americans, Africans who come here who try to connect with Black folk here, they are met with indifference and so on and so forth. So my thing is, does one make the right, other one right? No, it doesn't. But my whole thing is now to feel some type of way because you had an experience with someone within the diaspora that you didn't like, you're going to use that to justify your own sense of superiority. That don't make no motherfucking sense.
At all.
It's not, and here's my whole model. One of my favorite models is this. If something doesn't make sense, it's because sense was never there to begin with.
True. People
do things for two things, logic and emotion. Logic, right now, if I was to call you an asshole, logically, you would have a reason to be upset with me because I did something to warrant that, right?
Or generally, I would be upset, but I take pride in being an asshole. So you're complimenting me.
Now,
so, it's all good.
Now, let's say you and I walked into a room, right? All of a sudden, you're coming at me hella hot, hella angry.
Right.
Logically, I didn't do or warrant that type of connection. However, if something doesn't make sense, it's because it was based off of emotion. A lot of times people do things because they believe in it or if it feels right. But guess what? Either or is very, very subjective.
Exactly.
What feels right isn't always good, and what you believe in isn't always right.
What feels right isn't
This is so crazy, man. I just can't believe that he's doing this. Like, we're already dealing with enough BS with this whole superiority crap with, white Americans or Anglo Americans, and now we got to deal with this within our own community because our boat landed somewhere else. That's crazy.
No, it's everybody's emotions. Everybody's feeling for themselves. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying that he's emotional. That's all it is.
And the thing is,
he's absolutely doing it for emotion. There's no other reason or like.
Man, he probably went to somebody's hut and tried
to buy. But the thing is, it's also or he got played by an African woman. The African woman was like, "No, I'm not playing with you," and then he got mad. But the thing is, like, people need to open up too. Like, I'm gonna recall one situation that happened in Philly. You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to DJ with him a lot. I'm not gonna name him. Like, I'm just not gonna name him. So I took him to a Haitian restaurant where I usually DJ at, and just took him. I was like, "Yo, try some legume, try some red beans and rice." You know what I'm saying? And he was like, that's a Haitian food? I'm like, hell yeah, that's mad good. I'm paying for it. Yo, try it. He was like, man, I ain't trying that shit. Shit? The fuck? Like, and that's why I got mad and I didn't really talk to him after that. But it's like, at least open up. A lot of people are scared to even open up and experience other cultures. You know what I'm saying? Even within our own blackness.
I will tell you this, though. I will tell you this. Is this misery love company. So people who are on that type of time, typically, they fuck with people who are also on that type of time. Because I'll say, me, I don't feel any kind of way. Like, I can be proud about where I'm from, where my family is from. I'm black at the end of the day, right? But do I have my issues when it comes to black folk? Of course. But I don't want to approach it from a divisive place. I know there's shit that we got to work on. I know there's things we can be better at. But the last thing I'd ever want to do in any regard is put down another black man or another black woman. Yeah. You and I can disagree on something, and we can be as wrong as dead wrong can be. But the last thing I'd ever want to do is to make you feel any less than who you are, because I already know just from the same situation that I could, as much as I could have a day where my life's in jeopardy, you can have a day where your life's in jeopardy. So why would I even want to put you in a bad mind frame when you already going through enough shit on your plate? Right. But I say that because it would be nice if more black folk thought that way.
It would be nice where I had this a lot of times, but I also have situations where it didn't happen. So I'm going to just correct myself. I wish I could have more situations where I'm DJing a party and I could do a reggae set and an African-American set and everybody's vibing all at once. No subjective. Like, I wish I could do a reggae set without somebody saying, yo, turn that Jamaican or African shit off, or do like a hip-hop set and be like, Matt, wagwan, yo, play that reggae shit, dog. What's wrong with you? Like, I wish I could go through the whole set with no problems.
I mean, I definitely miss the reggae sets out here, though. Definitely miss
Hey, I do reggae sets, so you're good.
Okay, okay.
But I will say, though, too, that, you know what, it also comes down to maturity, because here's my thing. Like, I'm already aware that, black people, we be at odds with the dumbest shit. Like, right?
That light skin versus dark skin shit kills me. I fucking hate it.
So,
like, I really do.
Because I know that it's like bullshit is why that I do one of two things. If I connect with a brother or sister and they let something like that be so hella important in between our encounter, I leave them alone. Because I'm like, if somebody wants to go into light skin versus, I'm like, honestly, dude, I'm tired. Like, I don't do shit for nobody. If that's what they want to be on, cool. I'm just not gonna be a part of it. Or on most occasions, I associate with somebody, and it's just kind of like, all right, cool. Like,
I don't even want to be around. They do this in Philly. They do this. Yeah, shout out to Joseph Bills. Yeah, that shit is trash. Like, yeah, Joseph Bills is watching. Shout out. Like, I'm gonna bring him on a show one day. Like, there's party promoters that do light skin versus dark skin parties. That I hate.
Are you serious?
That's not new. That's old. I've seen this in Philly. I've seen this in New York. I've seen this shit in Atlanta. Light skin versus dark skin parties. I'll say this. I don't even want to work for. I'll never want to work for party promoters that do that shit ever.
You know what? I'll tell you something. So the light skin, dark skin example you use,
so decisive.
Only somebody who don't really know themselves is going to find a sense of empowerment in identifying with something that separates black folk. Because if you are black, like, if I like the Giants and you like the Eagles, we both are going to have our own, like, enthusiasm for it, but it's not that serious because it's just sports, right? I can still take you serious if you're an Eagles fan or whatever, because it's not that serious.
Hold on. First of all, I like the Eagles, but first of all, I like the Jets. Second of all, I still hold on to the last.
Okay. Second of all, you just had 2 second of all, so.
Yeah, I had a, you know what I'm saying? We can still beat the Jets, though. We can still beat the Jets. The Jets are 0-12. We can beat the Jets.
What I'm circling to is that if something like, I'm light-skinned and I'm X, Y, and Z, and it empowers you, then you don't know yourself. If you are dark-skinned, I mean, not to say that we should feel some type of way about how people look, but if you look at something like light-skinned versus dark-skinned and you find something in it to make you feel good about yourself, all right, fine. That's what makes you feel good about yourself. But me personally, I don't feel good off of some shit that makes a greater divide between people that look like me.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, for example, if I go to an event and it's like, for all my Caribbeans or my Haitians, that's something that's real. Okay, and is it divisive? No, because the culture is meant to be inclusive. So it's like that's what we are familiar with. But if you're talking about, I don't know, something to where it's like, we are the best. We are the best. It's kind of like, dog, like if that's what you need to feel better about your day, then that only tells you that you have but so much character.
But colorism and on all this light skin, dark skin, that's not just an American issue.
Oh, no,
y'all know that, right?
Yeah,
it's a problem in the Caribbean too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now, the colorism is a toxic motherfucker when it comes to blackness, and even to a certain extent, rich versus poor. And not to say that that's simple, but you go to Atlanta, you got bougie black folks who make all the money, and then you got black folks who may not be the same.
But this dates back to like the 3rd century, right? When it was pushed in Christianity, right? To be black was to be ugly, dirty, evil, devilish, and then to be white was to be clean and beautiful and good, and lively and godly, which is all BS, And so it's passed down from generation to generation, century after century. And now here we are today. It's, 2020, about to be 2021, and we're still battling this.
Systematic trauma, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so if you were to go about it too, when you talk about it that way, it's, my thing is, especially living in a place like Arizona, me personally, I have a greater appreciation for black folk because we're so spare. Right? Yeah. I find that I am a lot more comfortable and I'm a lot more like myself when I'm around my folk. All right? Here's my thing. If I'm going to be the kind of person that has some bullshit excuse for why I'm different and or better, then that's only going to increase the likelihood that whoever that brother or sister is ain't going to want to associate with me. They're going to be like, bro, you have some kind of superiority complex. And guess what? Now I'm going to be left all motherfucking alone without no one to associate with that I can relate to. So for me, I find it as really not a lesser of two evils, but I look at it like this. Like, why the fuck would I care about something that supposedly tries to make me sound better or superior to somebody else, when in reality, it's going to be the main reason why people like me don't want to fuck with me?
People on Facebook Live, man. I got people like watching. Share your thoughts, man. Comment what you think about this.
So I just say that because some people are cool with the notion of feeling superior. And I'm like, you know what? Keep that, because here's what's going to happen. Most people are not going to want to fuck with you or associate with you because you feel that way. And then you're going to sit there and guess what? Dig in even more toxic belief system to justify your bullshit. Well, I'm better than this people for that reason. You know what? Since nobody fucks with me, I'm that much more dope than I thought. And it's kind of like, it's just constantly building that nonsense. But you know what, though? Like I said, those are people who typically find themselves in their own company. You know what I'm saying?
You know what part of it is also?
What?
Post-traumatic slave syndrome. There's a book about that. Like, all this divisive shit really stems from generations of uncured trauma. Like, a lot of this separation stuff really started on the plantation. You know what I'm saying? With the light skin versus dark skin stuff, the house slaves versus the field slaves, you know what I'm saying? Where the slave master would put like one slave over the others as the overseer and have them fighting over each other.
The whole paper bag situation too. Like if you was darker than a paper bag, like I think it was right. If you was darker than a paper bag, you couldn't be let in the house or something like that.
And not only that, it's like we have not cured from it. Like, remember, like trauma, you could be traumatized by one event your entire life. I think it's safe to say that Black folks have been traumatized every single day from this for about 400 years. I think it's safe to say that, right? And when slavery was over, then you had the Jim Crow laws, and then you have the shit of today. Black people went through all of that and have not really cured the trauma that happened to them. Hence, the behaviors that's been passed down from generation to generation to generation until now that hasn't been answered. So that also plays a role as to why, like, different types of Black people don't really rock with each other. That also plays a part.
And also the thing is, it's not just a one-time thing. Also, I read about this in it said when it comes to certain traumas, right? Sometimes trauma can be so damaging that you don't mentally develop after the year in which you experience that trauma.
Yeah.
So they say that if you experience trauma at 7, they say you may mentally limit yourself from developing at that point, because until you get by that trauma. So when you meet like adults who have got childish tendencies or who have certain things about them, is because they're still, recovering from said trauma.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing too is also ongoing trauma, because if you live in a certain environment where, you're dealing with a certain thing every single day or a certain situation every single day, and you're not able to get out of it, guess what? You're going to find whatever thing that can give you some type of relief, even if it's only momentary, whether it's substance abuse, whether it's, coming up with this like ignorant, isolated type of mentality, or whatever the case may be.
And you know what? This is kind of funny. This is kind of real. Take it how y'all want. Generational trauma comes in this way too. The way we eat. So I understand back in slavery times where, the housekeepers and everything, they eat the finest part of the animal and they leave literally the shit of the animal for us. I'm talking about chitlins, okay? It's 2020.
I will never.
Why are we still eating chitlins? I'm just saying. Why are we eating chitlins?
I was in Walmart, right, shopping Thanksgiving, like the day before, and there were these two black ladies screaming across the aisleway from each other because they found chitlins, and they were so happy and ecstatic that they found them, and they were hollering, "Hey girl, look, yeah, I got it too." I was just like, oh my gosh.
You don't need to. Do you understand? Okay, for the people that don't understand what chitlins are, those are like the large intestines of a pig, where the shit rolls in through the large intestines of a pig before it comes out the butthole. That's what some of y'all are eating. Like, I understand people in slavery times, they had no other choice, but that's what I'm telling you about trauma. Like, they can't get out of it. So some people still eat chitlins today. I don't
also
understand
the process of cleaning it, from what I heard.
No, I don't ever.
Because you got to wash them, and then you have to, like a toothpaste tube, and just.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They say you have to air out the house.
You do.
For real? I don't know. I've never experienced it.
Shout to our camera guy Amos. Like, he holds it down. You see this stuff in the podcast and the episodes of YouTube. It's all his doing. So shout out to Amos. You can definitely check him out. But yeah, he said he's from Mississippi. Do you eat chitlins?
My mama do. Yeah.
Do you ask your mom why she eats chitlins?
Because her mama ate them. And my grandma ate them because her mama ate them.
Yeah, there you go. Generational. Right there.
It's
same thing like holidays. I'll be celebrating Christmas.
Generations.
But,
so we talked a lot about divisiveness. So, all right, how are we going to ideally bring black folk together? Really?
Well, first of all, I'm joking, but
everybody
I think we
need to take the time to learn about each other and embrace each other. I feel like, Black Americans, they're so, like you said earlier, they're so caught up on not having this place of belonging or this home. And this is kind of something that me and my husband are talking about, because my husband's African American, he's Black American, and he has his own feelings. Like, if he would be in this conversation right now, like, he doesn't consider himself African American. He is Black, but he doesn't even like that term. He's like, why can't I just be American? Like, why do I need to have a label? Why do I need to? And so he kind of has his own feelings. And so with us having these cultural differences within our marriage and our relationship, sometimes we have some interesting conversations, but I think that we do just need to embrace each other and learn about each other. We're all gonna have our differences, but at the end of the day, we are all viewed the same: light skin, dark skin, Caribbean, non-Caribbean, whoever, whatever. When you walk into a room, I know that when I walk into a room, even as light as I am, I'm not white, and there's very few people that look at me and be like, "Oh, she's Hispanic." I don't know if it's because of my hair. I don't know if it's because shut up.
The whole time she's been talking, she's just here.
A lot of people, I talk with my hands. We seen this stuff.
No, I'm just
you seen all of my episodes. I talk with my hands.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but like, I've never been. When people meet me, they either be like, "Oh, she's a light-skinned Black girl," or it's always like a mystery. And I'll never forget when I was in high school, I had this girl that was sitting behind me. I'll never forget who she is. I'm not going to say her name, but
we're going to start naming names on this.
She was like,
yeah, we did. Tariq, Nasheed.
I'm not naming nobody, okay? Because I'm friends with her on Facebook. Okay. So, but she was like going through my hair, and it was, I mean, I was like in the 10th grade at the time, really. So, but it's just something that stuck with me, and I'll never forget. I just remember she was sitting behind me. She was going through my hair, and then and my last name is, my maiden name is Martinez, right? And so she's like, what are you? And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm American, you know? And she's like, well, you something else, because she was like, you got black hair, but you light skinned, your last name is Martinez. Then she tells me, you talk black and you dress black. That just told me that I didn't dress like the other Spanish people, right?
So in high school. How Spanish people dress? So,
I don't know, but I definitely wasn't wearing midriffs.
Like you wearing flip-flops and chanclatas or something? Like, I don't know. How are they supposed to dress?
No, I don't know. But I just told you, I wasn't wearing midriffs in the wintertime. You know, whatever, them showing your belly and stuff. I don't know. I also wasn't wearing the Air Force Ones with different color laces.
Oh, you wasn't wearing them jelly sandals from the beauty supply store? Had every color? Yeah, you love because you know
I had the Chinese slippers. Yes,
yeah,
the Chinese slippers. Okay?
The Chinese jelly slippers with the little floral joints on them, and you had all the colors.
But she said this to me, and I'm just like, "Yo, that's wild! Like, what is all that mean?"
Rob, get the hell off of my Instagram live, you Trump supporter ass motherfucker, you.
Oh, why are you even giving somebody your energy?
Nah, man. Wait, is that Rob? Yeah, Rob, you fucking loser. Get off my IG live.
Shot.
Nah, fuck you. Get off my shit, bro.
Shot.
Kiss my ass.
Really? In the middle of the show? Come on, guys.
In the middle of the show. Why not?
No,
it's real life.
No.
It's real life, man.
We having a real conversation right now.
I'm sorry. No, the reason I had to, that's a different combo. I'll tell why that later. But nah, dude, the black dude who was Trump supporter. Get the fuck off my shit, bro.
It's takes. No takes.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
No, don't apologize. No takes. Because I really want to air this at Tariq Nasheed, because that thing really that angered me when you say people who come from other black countries like Jamaica and Haiti and come to America saying that you failed at your own country to get here. You guys are cowards. That is, honestly, like.
That's ignorance, though. That's just.
Tariq, if you respond, that's fine. But to be honest with you, if you don't really respond in a intellectual way, honestly, you owe me a fucking fair one on real rap, because my family ain't no fucking cowards coming from Haiti. I can tell you that right now. First of all, we already know about the Duvalier regime that happened. So you mean to tell me my family are cowards because they escaped death? Is that what you're saying? Like, we're cowards because we escaped damn near communism? First of all, we still have land in our own country. I could go back to Haiti anytime I want. So, we didn't come to America to escape. We came to America to evolve. That's what a lot of people do. They want to evolve and basically share the wealth with, the other.
With their family. Yeah, Caribbeans be coming to America and they be killing it.
Most Caribbeans.
And not just Caribbeans, but immigrants, period. They come out here.
Most immigrants that come to America do go back to their own country, like at least every year, every couple of years. So what, are we cowards because of that? Fuck no. Well, so Tariq Nasheed, and I'm talking to you directly. I'm looking at the camera. Why? Because I ain't no fucking scared motherfucker. Hope you respond to this shit. And if you don't respond intellectually, bitch, you owe me a fucking fair one. On God, ho.
All right, well, I hope you got health insurance,
bro. What? What happened?
So I hope you got health insurance. It's COVID. We really shouldn't be meeting people. Hey, bro, you know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
Anyway.
I feel you.
Okay, so how do y'all think, let's go back to, how do you think that we can bridge the gap, right, between the African American and Caribbean community?
So bridging the gap, I'll say this. Where I'm coming from is growing up in a place like New York, growing up with very strong Haitian and Caribbean roots, one thing that I'm genuinely fascinated by us, right? Yeah. And I mean that in where, since being in Arizona, I met black folk from Detroit or from Chicago or from Minnesota. And it's exciting, actually, to meet a brother or sister and see, like, we have some fairly stark differences, but we also have things that are that we genuinely find interesting, right? Like, you know, I'm interested by how, you know, Detroit folk got like a long history of like R&B, you know what I'm saying, and music like that, right?
Yeah.
And the list goes on. And because I'm fascinated by it, it allows me to have a open lane connection with somebody from Chicago. Right. And what I found is when they like, oh, you're Caribbean, they may be misinformed about something and not know it, but then they're also genuinely curious as well. So from a bringing people together in this type of thing, my thing is that I prefer to see the good in certain situations while not trying to focus too much on the bad. It's cliche, but it's one of those things where it's like, I'm one of those people where when I see your brother or sister, I feel more comfortable, right? Then there's some people who see another brother or sister and they feel like, well, that person might rob me or they might try to come up with me because that's whatever their experience that they've had. So for us to really come together, I think we really have to be more celebratory and curious about each other, because I can see Ben's right now and I can assume that we have some similarities, but we may have even more similarities than we realize.
That's true.
So for me, it's like I meet a cat from Chicago and I'm like, all right, well, yeah, we grew up differently and we have our differences, but what's exciting is when we both find common ground on some shit. Mm-hmm. And it just be the most, and especially in a place like Arizona where we're so few in between, I'm just like, dude, I'd be so glad because I have something to connect to. Like I see myself in them. And so I say the best way to show that you love yourself is just love someone that looks like you to a certain extent. And look, love whoever you want to love. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I just know that I haven't met a white woman that I've been.
That's another thing too. I mean, I don't know if we want to get into that this episode, but freaking, what was it? Dr. Umar Johnson is like, if you have like a white wife, then you're not black or something.
No, I'm not even gonna have that conversation because I have friends of all nationalities and races. Not having that conversation.
We're all human at the end of the day. Listen, I
got white friends, Asian friends, black friends, Spanish friends.
I prefer spice.
I'm a melting pot.
Right. I prefer spice. You know what I'm saying? So I prefer
melting pot or a cast iron skillet, because you know we
cast iron skillets. Cast iron skillet.
I'm just saying.
Facts 100. That's how we do it. You know what I'm saying? But hey, I mean, I like white women too. You know what I'm saying? I like all. It doesn't really matter about the race. It's a matter about your character, really, honestly.
Right. Exactly. You know that's to me. I mean, and like I was having this conversation with my aunt the other day. So my aunt, she's a white woman from New Orleans. She's not Creole. She's not Cajun.
Who?
I actually think like her. My aunt.
Your aunt's a white woman from New Orleans. See, there's so many levels of blackness.
And so, but she's in the family through marriage. So she was married to my cousin. Well, she's my cousin. Okay, hold on. This sounds crazy. She's my cousin through marriage, but I call her my aunt because of the age difference.
Right.
Okay. I just didn't want to confuse y'all because I'm like,
we got it.
Okay. All right. And so like I was talking to her, right? Because she's very much like about inclusivity. You know, she got introduced to the culture in New York through my cousin when he brought her back to New York, and she lived out there for 10 years. So she loved the amount of diversity and the progressiveness of Black people in America, right? Because coming from New Orleans, she had a completely different experience, you know, with Black people. And my cousin, he's Black and Puerto Rican. So, you know, she's now being married to this guy and then coming to New York, she just got a whole completely taste and view of you know, Black Americans. And so to her, she wants like this equality, right? And like she wants to demolish superiority and like no one should be above someone else, and in a perfect world, right? Like that makes sense. But like I told her, and how this conversation came about is because I went to go support Jody's. I don't know if y'all heard of Jody's, but he's I guess he grew up in Chicago, but he's from Philly, and he's got like an Italian ice spot and sub spot out here in Phoenix. Jody. And he asked me how I found out about his spot.
So you're not talking about Rita's water ice?
No, I'm not talking about Rita's. His name is Jody.
I don't know any Black folk named Rita.
So but so he asked me how I found out about him, and I was like, oh, I found out about you on Black People of Phoenix. He's like, oh, okay, that's dope. And then he kind of had his own little thing about it because I guess his partner in the business is a white woman. And so like he had to go through like this whole thing on Black People Phoenix where he had to prove that he was the owner because they thought, you know, some white business owner was trying to come up on the page and get Black business. I don't know. This shit was crazy. But then I get back in the car and I'm telling her the story and she was like, see, I don't like that. And I'm like, what? And she's like, what's up with this, you know, Black People Phoenix thing? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? And she had an issue with it. And so we kind of got into this heated discussion about why these groups exist, right? Like she doesn't think they should exist. She doesn't believe like the whole support Black business thing. And I was like, whoa, like, so this is catching me completely off guard, right? And I'm like driving in my car and I'm just like, no, like you have to understand, like we are the minority, right? And so when we find that sense of community, like we have to purposefully go out in order to support our own people. I'm like, you go into a business and 75% of these businesses, you are supporting a white-owned business, right? You don't even have to ask, you don't have to look. If you walk into a business, 9 times out of 10, or maybe 7.5 times out of 10, right? So talking about 75%, you're supporting a white-owned business. I said, we have to purposefully go out and find our sense of community. So like
you're talking what, 10, we're what, 20% of the population of America share less than 1% of the wealth of this country,
right? And in Arizona with 6% of the population, you know. So it's like, I'm like, how could you think that there's something wrong with that? We even went on to the conversation about like HBCUs and stuff, and she's like, well, why do they have to be historically Black colleges? I'm like, because that's what they are. I'm like, you do realize, you know, that was the only place that we were able to learn and get our education. And I'm like, Titi, like, what is going on here? And so,
hey, Nels, you should be really just straightforward and be like, you know who you are, you know where your money coming from. Now let them know who they are and where their money come from. How about that?
Right, exactly. So, I mean, needless to say, I told her, like, I think you're looking at this from the wrong lens, you know. I told her that I think she really needs to kind of take a step back and understand where I was coming from and why I choose to partake in these groups and engage with, you know, this particular group of people.
She's a lady white.
Say that again?
She's a white woman from New Orleans.
I understand that, but she's also my auntie, okay? So
yeah. I mean, we're not gonna trash on your auntie. We're not gonna do that. We're not, you know what I'm saying?
I just say that
but to be honest with you, that just shows like we learn more about each other.
Absolutely. And it took me completely off guard because, like I said, she's a woman that believes in inclusivity and everything just being equal. And I was like, yeah, in a perfect world, but that doesn't exist right now, you know? So I think she kind of got it by the end of the conversation, but there definitely needs to be opportunity and room for us to be able to embrace each other and learn about each other without getting slack from other communities and even within our own community, right? For supporting each other.
You know what I will say to that though, is that it's just saying that I've been adopting for certain people because I think perspective and accountability is overrated. Underrated.
Underrated. I was about to say, because perspective is everything.
Because a lot of people think they're better than what they really are. Self-esteem. Elaborate. And this isn't about self-esteem. I'm talking about people. Some people believe themselves to be very moral, just, ethical, and by all means, we all should believe that. But when time actually comes to apply it, there's inconsistencies with it. See, some people think some people think, oh, but I'm a very open-minded, diverse person. No, you're a person who was presented things and accepted it at the moment. But when the time came to do it again, you change your mind. No, it's convenient to like be inclusive around a group of people if you're around them. But if you're in a one-on-one conversation with somebody, your tone changes.
Or if you're like the minority of in a group of another group that you're not around.
Right, and I say that because it's like people will say things in the moment if it means that it will keep them out of drama or out of trouble.
Yeah.
And then they believe themselves, okay, yeah, I'm an open-minded person, but if the time comes to push comes to shove and time comes to them to actually follow through on that belief system, they're inconsistent with it. And I say that it's because it's almost like trying to find a cop-out. Like there are some people who will be like, I didn't know black people or racism or certain things like that was as prevalent as it is. No, the thing is, it's not that you weren't aware of it, it's that you are living in a system that survives off of that. And if your way of life is not disturbed in any way, shape, or form, then you're not going to question or change the status quo. So once again, you think that you're this A, B, or C person because the way your life has been. But when the lens changes and it's time for you to see who you really are, it don't add up because you only did it at the time because it was convenient. You ain't doing it 24/7.
That's privilege. That's privilege. That's like my shirt, that blue shirt that I have that says privilege on it. I don't know if y'all seen it, but it says privilege is something that you feel like it doesn't exist because it doesn't affect you.
That's true.
I had a class in college. It was Afro-American poetry and plays. And my professor, Professor Powers, dude gave me one of the craziest analogies to this day. He said, white people and white privilege is like a fish in water. They are in something that they can't see, that they can't feel, but they need it. But without it, they can't survive.
Ooh, that's deep.
He's like, because
that's going to be replayed on Instagram and all of that.
So hold on, can you repeat that again, please? Because I think they need to hear it again.
Rewind.
So my professor uses an analogy. He said, white people and racism, or you could say interchangeably, white people and white privilege is like a fish in water. They're living through something. They're in something that they cannot see, they cannot feel, but they can't live without it.
Woohoo,
Okay?
man.
Now, here's the scary part that I took upon and expanded on. So if white people are fish to water, then that means, in my opinion, minorities or black folk are tadpoles or amphibians. Because amphibians are able to survive on both land and water. So what does that mean?
Wow.
It means that
that's a crazy analogy.
We originally were born into a system in which we couldn't really see it, we couldn't feel it, but we felt it in a different way. And we were able to survive. However, as we grew and as we mature, we began to step outside of that system and go to something that works for us, i.e. amphibians go on land. And I ask people this question all the time. If black people are amphibians, let me ask you something. Where do you see amphibians most of the time? Land or water? Land. So for me, the salvation of black folk is really to be predicated on a system that isn't contingent upon whiteness. That's a perfect world, but my point is that having that analogy is, to your aunt's point, some people are in water and don't even know it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Is it their fault? I can't say. But I say that because, once again, some people who will come from something that is making their life easier, better. It's like white people think that white privilege means that they benefited off of it intimately or tangibly. That's not the case.
Like direct connect.
The fact that a white person can go into a grocery store, open up a pack of cookies, eat it, and walk around without being looked at in any kind of way, that's a privilege because that's almost a luxury. It's a privilege because there's a certain level of psychological exhaustion just from being black to where we walk into a store, we have eyes on us. We're being judged, we're being measured, and we don't even know why, and we're also processing this mentally, and it's exhausting. So that's where privilege comes from.
And it's so many aspects of our lives too that people don't even think. I actually had this conversation with a woman on Facebook because I was trying to explain to her what privilege is that she doesn't even think about. I'm like, your history is taught in schools. I'm like, why is our history only taught 1 month out of the year? I'm like, you can go into any salon and get your hair done. Me, I have to go to a specific salon. I have to look for someone that specializes in my hair type and texture to get the look that I want.
That's true.
You don't have to worry about that.
Privilege is also when your identity is convenient.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You don't have to walk out the door.
Being black or being a person of color, you have to fight in order to live. Like, once again, you wake up, you have to go to a particular place to get something particularly done because the powers that be say you are not worthy enough for this to be abundant. Okay?
I also got to talk a certain way when I'm in an interview.
Right.
I got to talk a certain way in my 9 to 5. My 9 to 5, don't talk like this.
Like even like code switching.
I don't either.
Code switching. Oh,
so,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
all right. So, one of my idols, W.E.B. Du Bois, or William Edgar Bernard Du Bois, if you want to be technical. He is a Black sociologist, psychologist. Also, he was a rival to Booker T. Washington. Right? So, Du Bois coined the term double consciousness. Double consciousness is basically Black folk code switching, where we have a certain set of behaviors that we exercise when we are amongst ourselves, when we're comfortable amongst ourselves. That's who we are. But when we're amongst white folk, we exercise a certain set of behaviors that are means of survival, as a means of getting by because they're around them.
Like talking proper or dressing a certain way.
So in code switching, the type of mental energy you expend going back and forth between two identities
is exhausting.
That's exhausting.
It is.
White folk don't have to do that. They can literally be whatever it is that they want to be, and it is accepted. Like, Black people are prosecuted at crimes, way more than white folk are. How is it that Black folk only make up 13 to 20% of the population in America, but make up for 75 to 80% of the prison population?
Let me add, you say Black people, we did not say like Black Americans, we didn't say just Caribbean people, we didn't say just African people, we say Black people. Because at the end of the day, whether you're from Haiti, Jamaica, or Chicago, the other people, or I could say the ops, look at all of us the same. So remember he said
they certainly do. I experienced, I don't know if I ever told y'all about it, but like, it was my first job out here in Phoenix, and I had a director that was basically
you told me about this.
Not with my hair situation.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So I wore my hair.
I didn't hear this.
It was after Super Bowl Sunday. I had went to a friend's house out in the West Valley, and my hair was curly, right? And I didn't get home early enough in time to like do something with my hair and make it, I guess, more presentable for work. And I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna go to work with my hair curly. And it ended up being a really big deal. I was told that my curly hair was not professional, and that it was suggested that I don't wear my hair like that anymore if I wanted to be perceived a certain way, if I didn't want to be perceived a certain way. And I was not told this to myself. I was actually told this in front of a group of my peers. And they were white, and they were all taken aback because they're like, whoa, did he really just say this to her? And at first I didn't want to really like make it about race or ethnicity or anything like that. So I just kind of left it alone. But word was going around. So then I was like, okay, well, let me go to my VP, or I think it was not my VP, but she was like she was like a department director, right? And she was a Hispanic woman. She was Mexican. And I go to her with this information just to let her know, like, hey, I felt uncomfortable and I feel like this shouldn't be allowed, right? I should be able to wear my hair whichever way I deem, as long as it's neat and presentable, right? Because it wasn't messy or crazy. It was just curly, And she basically told me, like, sometimes us as women, us as ethnic women, need to conform to get ahead. So she basically sided with my manager or my director or whatever he was at the time. With the whole hair situation, and to me, like, that was so crazy to me.
And then, and to that point, it's people who do that because, like, it'll be people where they'll say, oh, I'm all about women's rights, or I'm all about, identity, I'm all about X, Y, and Z, or whatever association they're with. But then when the time comes to do it, you know what I'm saying, you're not following through on what it is that you believe. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny because when you are met with a certain, like, an experience like that the first time, it's so confusing to process because your natural instincts are like telling you to rip this person's head off, but your logical mind is like, is this really happening right now? So it's a very like strange experience when it first happens, but it's something where the reason why it's so hard to process is because, like, it's not that you forget who you are identity wise, it's just like you like forget that people still look at differences like that and use that to justify saying what they say.
Like you actually gave society the benefit of doubt of, I thought we were past this.
Right.
Yeah, needless to say, like I didn't stay there very long. After that, I found another job. But then even in my next job, I remember I had braids in one time, and no one said anything. You know, of course, you get comments like, "Oh my gosh, your hair's so long now," or "Your hair grew," or like, you know, the dumb stuff that people say, like, "How'd your hair grow so fast?" And I took my braids out, and I remember walking by this older white lady at my job, and she was like, my hair was straight this time, and she was like, "See, that's much better." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "Your hair." She's like, "Your hair, it looks great like that. It's much better than the other thing you had going on." And I was like, "Wow."
It wasn't just use everybody. I had a job interview in Philly. I think it was some type of marketing job or whatever. And I came in and he straight up didn't give me the job. And he was like, "Well, first and foremost, you got locks. If you want to work in my company, you need to cut your locks off." And then he was like, "Second of all," and I was like, "No, there is no second of all. Fuck you, bye-bye." So, and I walked out. So, but yeah, it happened.
That happened to you out here?
It happened to me in Philly.
Oh, in Philly. Wow.
Yeah, Philadelphia, it happened to me.
Well, I'm not gonna lie though. I do remember I had my GM when I was working at Red Lobster when I was 18. Our GM, he did not hire guys with braids in their hair. He didn't do it. Like, it was just something that he didn't do. If you and this was a black man, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe he was a Caribbean man too. But he, again, it's that sense of superiority. I can't even get the word out right now. Damn it. But
a lot of people lost.
Yeah, he wouldn't hire guys with braids in their hair.
It's not just that. The Caribbean people, some Caribbean people who actually come to this country, or actually in their country, who actually
superiority. I got it.
Take the white superiority thing, like they're actually white. Yeah.
I'll tell you this, man. Living in Arizona has made me soft, yo. I promise you.
It made you what?
Made me soft because there's certain soft. Like there's certain things that I'm hearing, and I feel like, yo, if that happened to me, I'd be so ignorant. And it's because I'm not an ignorant person. And here's my thing: I give a tremendous amount of respect and credit to you, Nels, to anybody else who's ever had those kind of experiences. But I'm one of those people to where I don't get angry often. Right? Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going to happen. If I was in that situation, I do not know how I'm going to react. And that, it doesn't scare me, but it tells me that, y'all, like, I really would completely lose my shit because it just bypasses.
But that's what they want you to do, though. And that's the thing, like, you can't, you can't.
But here's my thing, though. This is what Black people need to start doing is they need to be honest about those feelings. I'm not saying I'm going to. I just said I don't know. What I'm saying is that the way that I would feel, a lot of other Black folk would feel the same way. Now, of course, the first thing we tell people is, don't do this, don't do that. When you tell someone to not do that, it almost tells them, well, first off, don't even entertain that emotion. Right. So my thing is this: if someone feels that way, uncover, okay, why do you feel that way? Because you have to let people go through the range of that emotion in the moment it happens so that they can get used to it. Because every time an emotion starts to surface and we cut it off, it starts to surface, we cut it off. Guess what? Now, the next time it starts to surface, you don't know how to keep it in check because you're always trying to hold it back. So I say this to say, when I hear that, what goes through my mind is, okay, if someone were to do that, of course there's a time and a place for it, but the way that I communicate my disdain and my problems with it, it wouldn't definitely be a civilized way. I'd be angry as fuck, but that's a different story.
Yeah, no, I've definitely, and it's crazy though, because I've never, so like in these places, right, I've never had a customer complaint. I've never had anything negative said about me, right, by interaction with the customer. But for whatever reason, the people that I work with have like this certain like view or expectation with me in terms of like how I'm gonna react to something, right? And it's always like, oh, don't get Melissa upset. She's gonna get too Bronx on you, or she gonna go to New York on you. And I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? Like, first of all, I'm not, I've gotten to a place where I do check people and I do draw a line, and there's only so much that I'm gonna tolerate, right? And that's one thing that I will say that Arizona has done for me, that it's helped me draw that line and be clear with it. Because before I used to teeter-totter, and there was a lot of things that I used to let people get away with because I didn't want to be perceived the wrong way or come off the wrong way. But I've come to realize that no matter what you do, because of how they view you, you're gonna get labeled anyways. So I might as well just be that person that just stops you right there in your tracks and tell you how I really feel.
Yeah, it's like saying that somebody accused you of cheating with somebody and you did it. So then there's that, okay, so how long do you end up actually cheating with that person that they assume that you're cheating with that you didn't do? I ain't never done that.
I was trying to figure out where you were going with that, but okay.
No, all right, no, just
use that
like
analogy.
your point. Yeah, if you're going to be looked at a certain kind of way, even though that's not who you are, then you might as well, you know what, matter of fact, fuck you. All right.
And that's why, like, I started, even in my job that I started in January, I think with my boss, and I feel like in a sense it's a little bit of a level of respect. I am becoming more comfortable with him in time, but he's a lot older than me, and he's my boss, right? So I feel like there's a certain way that I should speak to him than I speak with other people. But there are these two other guys at my job that I can completely be myself with, right? And there's no judgment. They actually called me out on it. They were like, okay, stop it. Like, where's the real you at, kind of thing, in a sense, They didn't come out directly and do that, but they just basically let me know, like, yo, it's okay, like, you could be yourself with us, we're cool, and I did. I kind of let back with them.
I was gonna ask this question, but I think I kind of answered myself. People need to go out their way to be more open. Like, for example, so I'm a Caribbean person. I did not know nothing about mild sauce until I came out here. Now, I love mild sauce.
Hold on, you didn't know about mild sauce?
Capital City, you can buy it on Amazon.
And Mamba sauce?
I got mild sauce. I think I bought it from Capital City, either that, but I know it's from the south side of Chicago. I got mild sauce in my house right now.
Well, I never heard of mild sauce. I knew what Mamba sauce was. And then I found out that, like, in Chicago, it's basically kind of like the same thing. So I knew of Mamba sauce because I went to Virginia State. I went to college in the DMV with all the DMV people. So they let you know about Mamba sauce.
So Mumbo sauce in DC.
But they will basically fight each other whether Mambo sauce and mild sauce are different or the same. To me, I feel like they're very similar.
I feel like I really came from Chinese people. Because you ever order Chinese food and you get the hot sauce and the ketchup and you put it on the chicken wings?
Oh, yes. No, you got to eat it on your French fries.
No, it's not. When you get a chicken wing with plain pork fried rice.
Chicken, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the hot sauce. It's the hot sauce, the ketchup, and the barbecue sauce that they put on the spare ribs.
On the duck sauce, you just be hitting it like, you know what I'm saying? You just tear that bad boy up there.
No, that stuff is bomb. That's how I eat my French fries.
I'm about to go to Jaguars and get Chef Renee's chicken wings right now, so you already know what it is.
You're going to get some wings. You're going to get some other stuff, too.
No wings.
Have y'all been to Chicago Chicken Shack out here?
I've been there. I had some wings from them. I ordered it for takeout. It was good when I was eating it at the crib, but I figured, like, man, it would have been nice if it was still hot.
If it was fresh. Oh, it wasn't hot by the time you got home?
Nah, man. I think it was the one.
Oh, no.
Right? The one on the university, is it?
No, you definitely got to go and just eat it fresh out the bag in your car or something.
No, it ain't even in no container. Like, it legit just in the boat, in the bag, and then just...
You know what I want to do as a show, as Culture Vibe show, and Amos, you could chime in on this too. Like, the last couple of weeks, we all went to, like, several different Black entities in here, like Jamari's Kitchen, shout out to them in the north side, Launchpad on the south side. Why don't we kind of do like some segments where we actually at that place and like do like little segments from that place, like, I don't know, like The More You Know or Get in the Know, and just like, do a couple
on
of
Sunday?
clips. Anytime. Like, it doesn't have to be Sunday. It doesn't have to be live. Like there's a place downtown that I want to like go there. I want to go to Jamari's Kitchen. There's a lot of spots in Arizona alone. And we're not even talking about other cities, but there's a lot of spots in Arizona alone that kind of want to do like segments at, you know what I'm saying? What you think?
No, I can shout them out. We got West Alley Barbecue. That's my go-to spot in Chandler. We got
Really?
Hot Pie.
Like every episode, we could like, you know, have like a segment from a Black-owned business or a Black-owned restaurant, and just let people know. Because to be honest with you, I think there's a lot of Black people in Arizona. There's a bunch of us. We're just so spread out to the point where people from this section don't know about the stuff in this section.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. We have to purposefully go out and seek each other, right, and support each other and embrace each other.
What you think about
that goes back to my comment.
What you think about it, Amos? You ready to go out?
It's a good idea.
You ready to go out on the road?
Yeah.
We're going out on the road then. Shoot.
Hey, I'll go out to get something to eat, but I just gotta wear my mask.
Okay, bet. Get your mask on. We out here. You know what I'm saying?
That's totally fair.
Coach, what was it? It's time to go.
It's about time, man. I'm gonna go some eat.
But hey, if you see each other in the stores, out in public, say hi. We got out here. Wave, introduce yourself. Something. We gotta bring it in. We definitely gotta bring it in.
True.
Exactly. Especially like Caribbean people, go out your way and say hi to an African American person, Go out your way to say hi to a Caribbean person. Come on, like she said.
So that's how me and Keith met, you know.
Well, actually, I met. Actually, it was a different intention. It just.
What?
I mean, no.
It was okay. Whatever. I get that it was maybe a different intention, but at the end of the day, I could have totally been a BS.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
Been like, yo, I'm not even trying to, but I didn't, you know, like because I felt regardless, like you were still very respectful. I didn't even get that vibe from you. So the fact that you even came out and said it caught me off guard because I was like, whoa, I never even knew, you know. And I feel like that's how it should be.
Yeah, it should be. But also, you know, I'm a smooth operator, so.
Oh my God. He be giving himself way too much credit.
Has to end the show like that.
I know, but still single. No, my bad.
Gunshot! Bow, bow, bow! We out here. It's Ben. Come on, no
I'm sorry. He just be giving himself.
That's cheeseburger. This Nels.
My bad.
We out here, man. Culture vibes, dog.